Tales of the Jedi just came out, and it is some of the best Star Wars we have had in a long time. In this video, I'll be covering my thoughts and breakdown to all 6 episodes of Tales of the Jedi. So without further ado, let's get into it. So as I just said, I love these episodes, and I think they're some of the best animated Star Wars period. And they hold up to the Clone Wars Season 7 finale. We get a deeper dive into Ahsoka, from when she was a baby to a year after Order 66. And we also get a look at young Count Dooku and his fall to the dark side. We get to see and understand his decision to leave the Jedi and join the Sith, as the show goes over how the Jedi are not purely good people trying to help others, but they're only keepers of the peace for the rich in the Republic, and are only really concerned with politics. We see that in episode 3, this really troubles Dooku, as he's from a rich family that saw him as a monster and left him for dead in the cold outside while waiting for a Jedi to pick him up. And now, the Jedi are only caring about those kinds of people, which is wrong, and that upsets Dooku and leads to his fall to the dark side. It makes a nice change to see the Jedi in this way, and it shows how far they have fallen from the old Jedi before the Battle of Ruzan. They now have their connection to the Force broken, and only care about helping the rich, instead of helping everyone in the galaxy. We also see this in episode 1, as on Tatooine, the Republic doesn't really care about the slaves in the Outer Rim, and are only concerned with the systems in the Republic. And for the most part, this is why Dooku turns to the dark side, and we get to see the missions where he uses the dark side of the Force and starts to doubt the Jedi and the Council. This is pushed even more when Qui-Gon Jinn, his apprentice, tells the Council that he encountered a Sith Lord, and the Council doesn't believe him, and it leads to his death. Because of how blind and obedient the Jedi are, he turned to Palpatine and the dark side to bring order and peace throughout the galaxy. And once Qui-Gon dies, he becomes beyond redemption. This is the final nail in the coffin for Dooku that helps solidify his allegiance to the Sith with no turning back. As he goes to meet Palpatine in the works, the same place he went to meet him at the end of episode 2, Yaddle follows him there, to which he confronts Dooku and tells him it's not too late to turn back to the light and stop the Sith once and for all. She even tells him that the Council isn't right about a lot of things, and that's why she left the Council. But Palpatine's manipulation convinces Dooku to kill Yaddle, to which he does. The battle between these two is a great one, with Dooku having the upper hand. Yet during the battle, she still tries to turn him back to the light, but when she mentioned Qui-Gon Jinn's death, it seems to trigger something inside of him to fully turn to the dark side and crush her down with the hangar door. Palpatine says, "You have done well, my apprentice. Rise, my friend." Which I found reminiscent of when Anakin chops off Mace Windu's hand and then turns to the dark side. But back to the fight, she manages to survive and open the hangar door with the Force. Then she falls down from all the energy used to open the door. As she's laying on the ground, helpless and unarmed, Dooku kills her in cold blood, in the same way Mace Windu went to strike down Darth Sidious. Palpatine is in the back looking at him with his sadistic, evil face and yellow Sith eyes, showing that he succeeded in corrupting the former Jedi. The music is very good and helps amplify every scene from start to finish in this battle and the whole show. And now onto the Ahsoka parts. The first episode is a nice introduction to the series and a good story about Ahsoka as a baby. We get to see her experience death and face it, and also the life all around her. We also see the first time she connects with the Force to befriend the Beast and save her, bringing her back to the old village. The old lady in the village makes it clear that from the start of her life, Ahsoka is Jedi. In a continuation of this in the next episode, we see her as an apprentice passing a test with the training droids. To her surprise, Anakin is not impressed and doesn't feel the need to congratulate her like all the other Jedi. We get to see that Anakin is different as a master and mentor compared to everyone else. He then proceeds to ask her if she wants a real test, to which she accepts. He rallies up Rex and the boys and puts her in the middle of all of them as they shoot at her with their blasters set to stun. Ahsoka struggles, only manages to block a few shots until she is stunned, but she wakes up, doesn't give up, and keeps going at it. After a lot of tries, Anakin goes to explain to her why he's making her do this. She says that the battle droids aren't half as good as Rex's men, but Anakin tells her that if she can protect herself against the clones, then she can protect herself against anything. He then goes on to say, "The best way I can protect you is by teaching you how to protect yourself." This is a very powerful and important line, because it shows that if it wasn't for Anakin's teaching and making Ahsoka push herself past her limits, she would have probably died many times already. Most importantly, it is because of Anakin that Ahsoka is able to survive Order 66. Later on in the episode, we get a time jump and see how Ahsoka has gotten much better, and she uses the same move against the clones in the training as she does when Order 66 is executed. The episode finishes off in the middle of the last episode in the Clone Wars, where Rex tells Ahsoka, "I hope all that training pays off." This episode does a great job at enhancing the last arc of the Clone Wars and that one line by adding more meaning and importance to it. It is also very inspiring for us, the audience, to also try and push ourselves at what we want to do in life. In the last episode, we start off at Padme's funeral, and we see Senator Organa looking out through the crowd and seeing Ahsoka. He follows her to ask her why risk coming here, as it is very dangerous during this time. Ahsoka responded perfectly, with her saying, "She was my friend." It goes to show the kind of friendship they had. And she also most likely went because she was Anakin's wife. But Ahsoka doesn't say that, since she is probably so heartbroken about Anakin's death, or so she thinks. That loss of her master, which was the bond of a parent and child, leads her to not joining Bell in the fight against the Empire, but rather go and try to enjoy life someplace far away, like Anakin and Padme would have wanted to do. We see her a year later on a small planet or moon, where she has settled in by the name of Ashla. As she and others are working on the farm, blocks of hay or something like that fall on Ahsoka's new best friend. She instinctively helps and saves her friend by using the Force, but this leads her friend's brother to noticing that she is a Jedi, and he calls the Empire, which then sends an Inquisitor. Ahsoka and her friend come back to the village after selling the hay to find it on fire. The Inquisitor in the center of the village took an old man and a brother hostage and tried to find the Jedi. As he sees Ahsoka, the brother tells him that she is the Jedi, and he asks for a prize in return, to which the Inquisitor goes to kill him, but Ahsoka saves his life. The Inquisitor tells Ahsoka that she should be dead, and he knows who she is, which is very interesting. Ahsoka, without a lightsaber, defeats the lesser-trained Inquisitor with ease, because of all the training Anakin put her through. The way that she takes his lightsaber is reminiscent of Rebels, when she takes the lightsaber of the Seventh Sister. This leads her to going back to the fight against the Empire, as she realizes that that is what she is meant to do, and it leads her to becoming Fulcrum, and in the books, she uses the Inquisitor's lightsaber crystal and purifies them, turning them into her white lightsabers we see in Star Wars Rebels. Overall, these are all great episodes, as we get to see Count Dooku turn to the dark side And also the perspective of the Jedi and how they aren't exactly good. They are corrupt, and that leads to his fall to the dark side. We also get a similar point of view of the Jedi in the 5th episode, where Anakin says their test and training techniques aren't good, and the Jedi aren't exactly what they're supposed to be. That leads him to pushing Ahsoka to her limits, for her to always be safe and able to help others. All the other Ahsoka episodes were also good, going more in depth with her character, from when she was born all the way to her becoming Fulcrum in Rebels. This show helps amplify the Clone Wars and the prequels, and is definitely one of the best Star Wars shows in recent times. I'll be uploading a video in a few days giving my full review to all 6 episodes, so make sure to subscribe to the channel to not miss out on any content. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and let me know what you think of Tales of the Jedi down below in the comment section. Apart from that, have a great day.